Weebology. Today is episode 9. How you doing there, Rick?
I'm doing great. How you doing, Ethan?
Phenomenal.
I'm excited. There's a new, as of this recording, there's a new Demon Slayer episode out that I haven't watched yet. That just popped, so I'm real excited to go watch that. Sunday's a good day for anime. I got a couple things in my queue, so I'm excited.
We got a sick ep today.
We do have a good one today. I'm really excited about what we got on deck, Ethan.
So today we're going to talk about some Amazon recommendations. It's not just Amazon exclusives, because as far as I know, they don't have too many.
They don't have too many. The couple on my list are definitely only things you can only catch on Amazon Prime, and they're on the up and up. They got a nice little collection going from what we've seen.
I think still by far Hulu's the best.
Yeah, they're pretty diverse, I will say.
So, but we're going to give you some options. Maybe if your friends have Amazon Prime, but not any of these other kind of streaming services, maybe this will be a good little segue for them.
Yeah, and if you're an Amazon boy or gal, you can get yourself these animes. Pretty much most of them they're not exactly exclusives or licensed by Amazon, but they are in fact pretty much the most readily available on.
They are on it.
They're on it. So yeah.
And then the second part is, well, it's quite an interesting little concoction we've decided to go with.
You want to go with it? We can do this one.
Well, so what we're gonna do is we've watched a movie. We've both watched one of the worst rated anime movies of all time, and we're just gonna talk about it.
We're just gonna talk about it. I think we're gonna call this worst of Weeb.
Yeah, worst of Weeb.
Worst of Weeb. We're gonna give our take on. We talk about a lot of really good anime on the show, but sometimes you got to give a little bit of attention to the darker side of
the shittiest anime ever.
The shittiest animes. I mean, it's important to know the entire spectrum of what it has to offer, the best and the worst. So.
Yeah, the good and the bad.
And my goodness, was it a trip? But we'll get into that after in the second half of the show. So Amazon recommendations, shows you can only catch on Prime or is most easily accessible on Prime. Dude got some really, really good, highly rated shows. What do you got? What do you got on your list that you'd want to tell the folk about?
Yeah, so I think what I'm going to start off with first is Blue Exorcist.
That was a good one.
I know at least our friend group has definitely watched this one.
Season 1 for sure.
Yeah, and I'm going to give you a little kind of plot on the ones that I mentioned, and then, we'll go from there. So the plot for this show is the story revolves around Ren Okamura, who, along with his younger twin, Yukio Okamura, was raised by father Shiro Fujimoto, an exorcist. One day, Ren learns that he and Yukio are the sons of Satan.
Sorry. Just the way they really, in that particular plot description, they just blindside you. It's just, these kids are raised by a priest. They decide, and they find out that they are the sons of Satan.
Yeah.
Lucifer's spawn.
Witnessing Shiro dying to protect him, Ren draws the demon-slaying sword Kirikara, which restrains his demonic powers. From that moment on, Ren not only gains demonic features like fangs and a tail, but also the power to ignite into blue flames that destroy almost anything he touches.
Whoa.
Ren wishes to become an exorcist like his guardian to become stronger and to defeat Satan. He enrolls at the prestigious True Cross Academy, an exorcist cram school, which is actually the Japanese branch of the True Cross Order, an international organization dedicated to protect Asai.
Like the berry?
ASSIAH.
We are a demon-fighting organization committed to protecting the superfoods of the world.
Protecting your
acai berries.
The human realm from Gehenna, the demonic realm. Much to his surprise, Ren finds that Yukio is already a veteran exorcist and is one of his teachers. Thus begins Ren's journey to becoming an exorcist, accompanied by his brother and his fellow students, who quickly become some of his closest friends.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but I don't know. What I really liked about the show, first of all, blue flames are always dope.
Always good.
Literally 100% of the time, they've been cool.
Who's the one from My Hero? The Donnie or whatever that dude's name is, who's got the blue flame quirk?
You mean cool. Todoroki's dead brother, Dabi?
Dabi, that's it. That's a manga spoiler. Here we go.
I don't know if it's actually his brother. That was a theory everyone was saying.
I think that is the thing. I don't know if it's the manga.
How could it be?
I don't know.
It doesn't make any sense. Anywho.
Whatever, yeah.
Yeah, Blue Flame's always dope. I think what's really cool is he's just like super high level demon, and he decides that he's gonna be an exorcist.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's just like, I'm gonna be what I'm trying to fight against to get the edge.
Right.
I don't know, something about it. Like, it was just really easy shonen candy for me.
It really was. It was
easy
like
to binge.
enjoyable, quick.
Yeah, and like all the characters were super cool. They all had their own take on how to do exorcisms and fight demons. They all had their own mantras, and I actually really liked in that first season, like, all of the friend group around the main character find out about his demon heritage and didn't all just like say, okay, cool, he's our friend, ha ha ha, that's fine. They really wrestled with it. Like, they didn't want to, they didn't want nothing to do with him. He was the demon spawn they were trying to fight against ultimately, and it felt like a real take on a friendship strain when you find out, oh, hey, you're literally my enemy. How could you have lied to us this whole time?
Right.
You
So the studio
asshole?
for that was A1 Pictures. There's 25 episodes in season 1 with an OVA, and then the season 2 had 12 episodes plus an OVA. Still A1.
How'd you feel about the second season? I watched like the first 2 episodes. I think like something else knocked me off of it.
It was good.
Okay.
I think it was just more of the same.
More of the same.
Like,
that's cool.
A nice fun 8.5 to 9.
Oh wow. Okay, that's cool.
You wouldn't call it an 8.5?
I call it a solid 8.
Whatever.
It was candy. Like,
it was candy. So well executed. Counts.
Yeah, so it was good.
Andy Plurks. I love that.
Andy Plurks. Yeah, man, I like that supernatural stuff, and a different take in supernatural, I think, with an Amazon exclusive is Isshiki.
Yeah.
Isshiki, The Last Hero, was a manga. It might have been a light novel. I'm gonna go ahead and say manga. Somebody correct me, please, if I'm wrong. That it had a really unique premise, and I really liked the idea of it. So I have a plot description right here because I know me and I made RoboPat watch it, so he had more in his database of stuff to suggest.
Of course.
Yeah, you got to make sure you get your neural net learned up so it could be robust.
We need the firmware updated.
Firmware updated so he actually does watches the things we want him to watch. So this is a beer break. Excuse me. You want to fill the time when I have a beer break, Ethan? How dare you? Just leave me in the dark like that.
Well, you probably should have told me beforehand.
You should read the room.
It just seems like an inopportune time for a sip.
Extremely inopportune time.
Feel free.
Okay, so if you want a little bit of plot, Isshiki, he's an elderly man whose family like really seems to just hate him, and they totally don't care about his existence. He's just a very lonely old man. But one night he's in the park taking his dog for a walk, and he literally, there's some sort of alien explosion, and he is awoken later to find out he is literally a superpowered robot with these insane abilities. Like, he is now alien tech from head to toe.
Nice.
Internally. So he uses these powers to help people in need. He feels a very heroic compulsion with these powers, and he finds out he can even heal and bring people back to life. So he can revive people.
Damn.
But at the same time, in the same park on the same night, there's this shitty teenager who also was endowed with the same alien tech inside his body. But instead of taking the heroic route, he just goes maniacal and becomes like the worst villain. There's things he can literally point a finger at somebody and then just like pretend to shoot, and they will, like, they got hit with a bullet.
Yeah.
And he can do it over TV. He can do it that's the kind of powers he's working with. I'm pretty sure Isshiki has the same power set, but he uses it for good. So it's this awesome clash between this psychopathic teenager who has godlike powers and this old man who uses it benevolently. And it follows them separately in their own adventures, and they clash a couple times in the arc. So it's a super cool take on what happens when two different people are endowed with the same power, and then how is society affected around them as they take two totally different paths and then meet up? Because a lot of good is done by the old man, Isshiki, but this teenager sucks.
Yeah.
This teen is awful. He's like a legit psychopath. So I don't know. I think it was a really fresh story. I think it was a really cool take on the dichotomy of how power is used, because there's no power progression. They have everything they can do from the get-go, but it's how it's used that makes for a very compelling story. So I would give that probably a solid 8.5. I would say it's a little better even than Blue Exorcist, because Blue Exorcist was fun. it didn't dive very philosophically into a lot of cool concepts, despite it being very.
Well, I mean, hey, a demon, son of Satan, going against his nature. That's pretty interesting.
I mean, I'm not saying it's not interesting. I'm just saying it didn't really like. That's why it was candy. If Blue Exorcist was candy, then Isshiki is more kind of like a
thinking man's candy.
It's a thinking man. It's like it's more like a really nice scotch. You sip on it, you appreciate it. It has a lot to tell you, and when you're done with the cup, you're like, wow, it was a really nice, enriching experience.
Did you ever see the movie Chronicle?
Yeah, with the teenagers, and that's kind of what
alien like telekinesis powers.
Yeah,
it sounds a lot like that.
Add mech to that premise, and that's what you got.
Cool.
Yeah, that's essentially what it is. So it's really good. It's a quicken.
I don't know if y'all noticed yet, but my talent is drawing parallels between other shit in movies.
Oh yeah, it's on your degree.
Because I've seen an absolute assload of movies.
It's on your Weebology doctorate.
Yeah.
They just give us
right
a
on
list
my
of
doctorate.
Shit. Yeah. So yeah, I'll go watch Isshiki. It's a good time. Kind of violent. I'm gonna say that out loud. Pretty violent. So if you're not into the little bit of a gory kind of animated side, then be prepared. But it's a good time.
Cool. So my next one is Darker Than Black. I actually just kind of stumbled upon it on Amazon Prime.
You did a while back. You told me to watch it, and guess what? I never did.
You never watched it.
I never watched it.
So I had heard about it beforehand as like a very strong anime, like one of the older ones. Like I think it was like in the 90s or something like
was it
that.
Really? I thought it was newer than that.
Well, maybe it was like 09. Yeah, 09 looks like.
Nice. We are old.
Anywho, so the plot was 10 years ago. A mysterious spatial anomaly known as Heaven's Gate appeared in South America, shortly followed by the opening of Hell's Gate in Tokyo, altering the sky and wreaking havoc on the landscape. The real stars disappeared, replaced by false stars. During this time, people possessing various special abilities called contractors emerged, each capable of different supernatural feats. Each contractor has a corresponding fake star, which reacts to their activities. As such, contractors are usually identified by their star's MESSIER, Messier catalog number.
Emissary?
No, just MESSIR. That's got to be an actual science term.
Maybe.
Messier catalog, Messier. It's got to be Messier. Like
we're not a linguistics
the
podcast
hockey star. Catalog number. Kept secret from the masses, these individuals are known to murder in cold blood, smothering unnecessary emotions with logic and rationality. Their incredible abilities, however, are gained at the cost of their humanity. Contractors are thus named because of an involuntary compulsion to pay the price each time their power is used, which can range from eating particular foods or completing meaningless tasks to self-harm and change their bodies in peculiar ways. Various nations and organizations around the world train and utilize contractors as spies and assassins, resulting in violent battles for valuable objects and information. Following the disastrous Heavens War, the United States lost its dominant position as a superpower to a mysterious organization named the Syndicate. The story revolves around a Chinese contractor named He, as he undertakes various espionage and assassination missions in Tokyo under the direction of the aforementioned Syndicate. It eventually reveals a plan of the Syndicate to erase the existence of contractors and a resistance put up by contractors from the Syndicate itself and various espionage agencies. So the story is extremely deep. It's really cool stuff.
Just that plot summary seemed like great, like good intellectual shit.
Right. So what's really dope is, like it had mentioned in the plot, to use their powers, they must pay the price every single time.
Interesting.
So, for instance, there's just one character. If he uses his contractor powers, he must go smoke a pack of cigarettes.
Interesting.
So he's gonna die sooner because he has to do all that.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So
are all the contractual stuff kind of life shortening stuff, or is
no,
it
not
physical?
all the time.
Okay, so it's not all the time. Okay, so there is a price to pay.
No matter who you are, there's a price to pay.
That's pretty cool.
Except for our main character.
Oh wow. Okay, does he nullify all other contractor powers?
I think you should watch it and find out, Rick.
Gosh.
No, it was a lot of fun.
Oh my god.
And there's like a lot of deep story plot throughout. It's like honestly was like a really good time. And since it's on Amazon Prime, it's very easy and accessible. You can just throw that junk on, watch the dub, then you can even do things at the same time. So
we're not sponsored by Amazon Prime, but Amazon, if you want to throw us a bone.
No lie, Bezos, you want to throw me some bones?
Bezos, we're talking about your services. You're talking about how you got a good, robust library. You want to throw us a little lettuce our way. That'd be great.
Super down.
Your boys need to make us a sandwich. We need that lettuce.
But yeah, I'd put it in the...
Sounds cool. I feel like I've watched an episode or two of it, and again...
It was by Bones.
Oh, wow. Okay.
In 09.
That's all you had to tell me.
09, what were you in? Like sophomore year of high school?
Yeah, that's
Modern Warfare 2 days.
Yeah, Modern Warfare 2. Hell yeah.
Yeah, so I really, really enjoyed it. I think y'all should check it out.
What kind of rating would you give that one?
Probably 9.
Wow. It did seem like I have nothing to speak on about it. The plot summary looked pretty cool. Power system looks cool. How's the storyline, like the narrative? Is it like enriching? Like, is it a good, like, does it feel satisfying?
Yeah, it does. So you start off kind of not knowing really a whole lot, obviously.
That's kind of good. Obscuring information a little bit is
well, I mean, it's a little bit like Dimension W. Like, you just start off randomly. And
just like in the middle of the slice.
Happened, right?
Yeah.
So, but by the end, you really, like, you get the full depth of everything. You kind of understand what the hell is going on. And I super, super enjoyed the actual plot.
That's cool.
I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to move Blue Exorcist down to a 7.5.
Ooh, okay.
In light of my 8.5 to 9 of Darker Than Black.
You know, I appreciate that. Yeah. I appreciate you keeping your a moving target, so to speak. But yeah, so when it comes to, I call Blue Exorcist shonen candy, but I think there are series out there that exist solely for the spectacle of the visuals and the fights. And if you're big into like battle anime or some action anime, the one I'm going to recommend is a pretty good one. It's called Recreators. Now, it's gotten a lot of good hype. I think it's a really good time. It feels like a little bit like a Fate knockoff, solely because of the plot. Here's the plot surrounding it. So, a high school student named Soda embarks on a quest for heroes when a mysterious woman brings video game characters into the real world as pawns to fulfill her sinister purpose. And I think basically, if you read that and felt, oh, that sounds like you're summoning you're summoning servants in the Fate series, that's kind of what it feels like. It's supposed to be like what I'm calling a reverse isekai. Like, people are summoned to our world instead of someone from our world being summoned to theirs. It's a fresh enough take. It's good in that all the characters can span between mages and myths and gangsters, and they have a really diverse cast of active characters. So all of the confrontations and the fights are really creative. They're wild. They're like super left field in terms of aesthetic. So you'll find yourself not watching the same type of battle twice, and it's all animated very beautifully, despite being from a studio that's not exactly well known for their works. I mean, it's made by a studio called Troika, and Troika's only done not too much other stuff. I mean, they did Recreators, and they did Idolish 7, and they did Bloom Into You, which is done in like most very recently, but it's a Yuri manga, so it's very romantic. But yeah, I would say if you're looking for some sweet action, some action you've never really seen before.
Isn't Yayori boy love?
Yes. Yeah. So the studio's only made a couple other things, and one of them, oh no, that's not this anime. Recreators doesn't have that.
Okay.
One of the other things they made, this studio picked up to animate and produce, was called Bloom Into You, which is a Yuri manga. So
it's kind of a creepy title.
Yeah, it is.
Anywho,
that's what I'm saying. That's the studio you're working with. So they don't got a lot of stuff to speak on, but it looks like they really do. They did a really good job with Recreators. They got really high reviews from folk, and yeah, I mean, if you're kind of in an isekai and want something different, this is a good pick. 22 episodes won't break the bank. It's good for a rainy weekend. And yeah, Amazon Prime, it's free as hell. You can go on there and just click it and just binge it.
Free with the price of $120 a year.
Just binge it. You already got it. You just might as well binge it.
Right.
But yeah, it's some of the characters are super cool. Like one of them uses they teleport in gunplay. Basically, like their power is like Gilgamesh from Fate, where they can just summon unlimited amount of weapons, but in their case, it's guns. Pretty cool. And they have to fight someone who is very, very close range. So, but this person's very good. So the whole point is like these mismatched fights add for a lot of creativity and battle dynamics that you may have seen in some other anime in some form, but they do a really good job polishing a lot of different fighter styles in this particular anime. So good and wacky. The animation's great. I give
it a rating, considering you gave Blue Exorcist an 8.
7.5.
Okay.
7.5. It's like I said, it's
here
not,
first, folks.
It's not gonna blow your mind, but it's getting all its points from the spectacle. You're gonna watch it like, whoa, this looks crazy. The story's not gonna blow your mind or anything, but I really like it. It's a really easy one to watch, so I suggest getting on it.
Sick.
Yeah.
So I have 2 more that we've already talked about in the past, so I'm just gonna mention them quickly and then move on to my last one.
Yeah.
GTO.
Always.
Great teacher
Onizuka. Oh gosh, so
super
good.
Dope. Big fan.
I'm more than halfway through it. I recommend it.
It's on there, and that's a huge.
I'm making a call in this episode. If you are someone who screams, "I do not like slice of life," I know I am there too. I am in your camp, my friend. Go watch Great Teacher Onizuka.
I think what we should do is we should take all the genres we hate and then force ourselves to watch one and then talk about it on the.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Because like for instance, I don't like any of the like shoujo like romantic type shit.
But I'd be down to watch one that's decent.
We should watch like Toradora or something like that.
I'd watch Love Is War.
I haven't watched it either. We should totally
that'd be
do that.
good. Oh, it's gotten really good ratings. So I don't think we can keep our Weebology tenureship unless we actually do research.
Yeah.
We actually have to write some papers.
Anywho, so yeah, GTO and then Dororo, which we've talked about at least twice. So big fan. Definitely check those out. My 5th and final will be Slam Dunk.
Now, I'm not a big sports anime guy.
So this is actually the first one I ever watched.
Yeah.
And there's like 100 episodes, so I'm like 60 in or something like that.
Wow, you are cooking.
Yeah.
My goodness.
So, I just everyone was talking about Hyaku or whatever, the volleyball one, and then Hajime no Ippo, the boxing one.
I've watched Ippo. That one's
really good. And Kuroko no Basuke.
Yeah, I never watched that one.
And that's another basketball one. So I decided to watch this one because it was on Amazon Prime. Yeah. And it's also like the original, like kind of sports anime.
How old is it?
So the actual manga is from 1990 to 1996.
Oh, that's cool.
And the actual anime is from 93 to 96.
Whoa, they cooked the whole thing in 3 years.
Sick.
That's cool.
Its studio is Toei Animation.
Well done.
So largely good.
Yeah, largely.
Foreshadowing, perhaps? And I'll just quickly do the plot. Hanamichi Sagaraki is a delinquent and the leader of a gang. Sagaraki is very unpopular with girls, having been rejected an astonishing 50 times.
Wait, whoa. Is it very specifically 50?
Yeah.
Did they mention that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, okay.
In his first year of Shohoku High School, he meets Haruko Akagi, the girl of his dreams, and is overjoyed when she is not repulsed or scared of him like all the other girls he has asked out.
Fellas out there who's having some love trouble, 51st time is the try. That's the ticket.
Haruko recognizes Sakuragi's athleticism, introducing him to Shuhoko basketball team.
Wait, so he was shit with girls, but he was an athlete?
He's a delinquent, so he has like a crazy body, but he'd never played sports or anything.
That should go in his Tinder profile.
Well, I mean, he's like an asshole, you know?
Also should go in his Tinder profile.
Yeah, that'll get him a date.
51st time.
So Sakuragi is reluctant to join the team at first, as he has no prior experience in sports and thinks that basketball is a game for losers because his 50th rejection was in favor of a basketball player.
Oh, so he's bitter, but he knows it works in the game of love, dude. Go do basketball. Come
Sakuragi, despite his extreme immaturity and fiery temper, proves to be a natural athlete and joins the team, mainly in the hopes of impressing and getting closer to Hiroko.
Why else does anyone play basketball?
Huh?
No one else plays basketball for any other reason than to get girls.
Of course.
Obviously.
Later on, Sakuragi realizes that he has come to actually love the sport despite having previously played primarily because of his crush on Haruko. Kaeda Rukawa, Sakuragi's bitter rival. Sorry, these names are brutal.
They sound brutal. I mean,
both in basketball and because Haruko has a massive crush, albeit one-sided, on Rukawa,
Oh.
The star rookie and a girl magnet joins the team at the same time. Not long after, Hisashi Mitsui,
This motherfucker's stepping in on my turf.
yeah,
That's what you're telling me
a
right
skilled three-point shooter, an ex-junior high school MVP, and Ryuta Miyagi,
Ooh.
a short but fast point guard.
What does an ex-junior high school mean? Like, did he used to play junior, or did he used to be a junior high school?
Junior high MVP.
Oh, and now he's a senior?
Now they're in high school. Junior high is
junior high,
school.
junior high.
Come on, man.
Dude, I go to school in America. I don't know.
We have junior high here, too.
It's called middle school, okay?
Anyway,
Whatever.
a short but fast point guard. Both rejoin the team, and together these four struggle to fill team captain Takanori Akagi's dream of winning the national championship. Together, these misfits gain publicity, and the once little-known Shohoku basketball team becomes an all-star contender in Japan.
Wow. Yeah, that seems pretty cut and dry when it comes to sports anime.
Yeah, so it was really cool, but there's an extra kind of piece to this.
Okay.
Because I'm a professor, I do extra research.
I can tell.
So I actually watched this YouTube video on, it's from the Crunchyroll channel. It was called How Manga Changed Basketball in Japan. So apparently before this manga kind of existed, basketball was essentially non-existent as a sport in Japan.
Whoa.
And then off the success of this, it became like a cultural norm for everyone to like and play and want to like be good at basketball.
Was it that quick of like
apparently
over
it was like that big of a
6
deal.
years it went from like a not that'd be like if like a hockey HBO show came on in America and then everyone played like screw football, screw baseball, it just became
That's
hockey.
exactly like that. So I thought that was a really sick
That's
kind
insane.
of extra layer you could go down
That's
into
cool.
it.
So what would you recommend this for, sports fans, people who are just fans of anime in general? Like who's watching this?
I think both easy.
Okay.
And I think, if you're just a fan of like kind of how anime or anything like that affects culture, I think what I would probably suggest is check out the video first called How Manga Changed Basketball in Japan, and then kind of get an idea of how it like genuinely affected the
kind of add some of that context.
Yeah, because I think that will help kind
That's
of
cool.
just make it not just an anime type thing.
So what's your rating?
I think I'd put it, so I said 7.5 for Blue Exorcist.
Yeah.
Darker Than Black, I said 8.5 to 9. I'll say 8 just because I'm a real battle kind of shonen
Yeah, of course.
weeb trash boy.
Yeah.
And there's no battling in weeb, flames and shit like that. So
Kuroko no Basket had more of that, right?
yeah, Kuroko no Basket is described by Nuxtaku on YouTube as basketball with devil fruits.
I love that. Yeah, that's a great description.
Yeah, so I mean, it was a lot of fun. I'm obviously not done yet, but it's pretty long. So I think it's just a cool little thing to get you into like sports anime and things like that.
That's cool. I might actually pick that one up. If it seems that pivotal to Japanese culture, it might.
Hey, man.
There's something to the story, I guess.
Pivotal.
So I guess my last suggestion, and oh boy, it's a doozy. If you haven't seen it, you are far behind. Maiden Abyss.
He's looking at me because I haven't seen it.
Oh, dude, it won awards. It's won so many awards. So,
dude, guys.
Yeah.
Reading books takes a long time.
Oh my
Watching
God.
anime takes a long time.
Oh my God.
I'm just saying, like, I don't know if it feels like this for all of y'all, but it feels like can never, ever, 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 ever catch up.
There's no catching up. That's escape that fallacy. Escape that thinking. There's no catching up. There'll always be more.
I've probably seen like 150 to 200 anime, and I just feel like I've never seen anything that anyone ever talks about.
I'm probably at 100 at this point, and still, you gotta pick and choose. Okay, so Maiden Abyss. Why it's so crazy is the plot is, it has all the stuff of like high fantasy that I love that you comes with isekai and other world stuff, but it didn't even do any isekai stuff. It's purely fantasy, and that is so fresh to me. Where the plot is this little girl named Riko. She lives as an orphan. She lives as an orphan in a village surrounding the Abyss, which is a massive crater in the ground of unknown depth, of seemingly unknown depth. Her story starts when she is exploring her town one day, and she has noticed that she had found what looks like a small boy, but turns out to be a robot from the depths of the abyss. This kind of artifact has never been found. It's been well known that treasures and artifacts exist deeper and deeper inside the abyss, and there are explorers that go down and dig this stuff up to be used in culture, in science, and tech, and stuff like that. The dangerous part about the abyss and where all the conflict comes in is called the curse of the abyss. Descending it is fine. You can go as far as you want to. It is like miles and miles deep. But as you ascend, you are affected by numerous amounts of curses. It could be bodily harm, sickness, most of the time death, though, like, exploring this abyss is a fatal endeavor for the most part if you go deep enough. And what also kicks off Riko's story is she finds this robot boy that she has named Reg, that seems to have come from an unknown depth in the abyss. And the reason why she's an orphan is because her mother is a very famed explorer herself. So she sends a message up by balloon, and the orphanage and the powers that be find it and say, hey, your mother has sent you a message. She is waiting for you at the bottom of the abyss. Now, literally in this culture, there's never been even word that there was a bottom at all. And her mother just told her specifically, I'm waiting for you at the bottom. And the curse will not let her ascend. So that's an amazingly compelling personal story that I love. The art, oh my God, the art is some of the best I've ever seen since Miyazaki. Like the backdrops, the character design, the simplicity. They're like all the characters that are of merit are very chibi, so they're all very cute. But it doesn't stay cute. It gets very dark. It's a very fantastic fantasy storyline.
Dark like the abyss.
Dark like the abyss. The darkest abyss you could possibly imagine.
Like light doesn't reach it type dark.
Pretty kind of, yeah, that kind of dark. And they only have one season right now, which is very sad. And everyone if you go on Google and type in Maid Eye, you'll probably get Maiden Abyss season 2 release date, something like that, because it is very very anticipated for the next chapter that's coming.
Highly sought after.
Very sought after. So you want something new, you want something very, very aesthetically pleasing. Check it out. Maiden Abyss, I would give it a 10 out of 10.
My God.
It is a 10. It is one of the...
Was that 2016?
It was 2017? I think it won Best Animated...
It's in your hand, Ricky. Just tell me what it says.
No, I have my notes here.
Oh, okay.
I'll look it up.
I thought he was on Wikipedia. I'm like, dog, just scroll.
Oh, no. I am a professor. I do my own research and my own summations, Ethan.
Fair enough, dude.
Well, it looked like it was written... The manga itself was written since 2012. But yeah, it came out in mid-2017 from July 7th to September 29th. And a sequel film will premiere in January 2020.
Ooh.
So that's interesting.
So you got something on the radar to watch.
Yes, but I am not... don't quote me on this. I remember it won some awards. I think it won Best Anime of last... Yeah, this series was awarded Anime of the Year and Best Score at Crunchyroll's 2017 Anime Awards.
Okay, I guess for our next pitch or ditch, you should suggest that for me.
I will, and you will pitch it all day because it is golden.
Okay.
Yes.
So,
yep, Amazon's cool. Amazon's got a lot of stuff to watch. Go watch it.
Most people have some kind of Prime or Prime Video, so we figured, hey, we've given you some Netflix originals. We can do like a Netflix, like in general recommendations too, because there's a lot of really like stout productions on there.
We wanted to give you some prime picks.
Yeah, prime picks.
Prime
go.
picks. Hell yeah!
All right, guys, our third Weeb clip, third or fourth.
Who's counting? I don't know.
Yeah, who's counting? So what we're doing today is we're doing a Weeb warning or a worst of Weeb. We're not sure which yet.
I like worst of Weeb because we talk about a lot of great anime on this show. I would say a lot of the ones you talk about are something near and dear to our hearts. But we decided that, you know, there's a full spectrum of anime out there that you guys may not be aware of, and neither are we. So we decided we were going to take some of the worst rated anime of all time, pick one out of that little bucket, subject ourselves to the trash that it is, and then come to you guys and really kind of dive into what it's about.
Yeah, we're going to go really in-depth into this one. And so what we're doing today is Psychic Wars.
Psychic Wars.
OVA.
It's what is it, 50 minutes long. It was made in 1991.
Yeah, 50 minutes, 1991. The studio was Toei Animation.
Toei Animation. And that surprised me greatly because I looked at what they had made just prior. And they made Dragon Ball in the late 80s, and they had already started Dragon Ball Z So there's no excuse for what this is for them to like take this on. This felt like a money grab, but it couldn't have grabbed any cash.
Yeah,
like no one's trying to thirst over a DVD box set of the OVA of Psychic Wars.
So the rating from IMDb, which I was surprised as hell it was even on there.
Yeah.
3.5 out of 10.
Oh my gosh.
My anime list, 3.16.
Oh my goodness. And if you ever looked on my anime list, even stuff that we would consider not great at all is getting like high 6s.
Yeah.
It's high 6s, maybe even low 7s, or just like the anime. This is half of that minimal score. And we're just overall impressions. Overall impressions.
Wild. That was such a wild ride.
It was so jarring. It was so the way it was shot, the way it was like told, every bit of it.
We were talking about this at lunch beforehand, and I said, for me, the word that kind of describes it and wraps it up into a tight little bow, jarring.
It's jarring. It's
unbelievable.
It's almost sickening. Like, I watched it at normal speed just to like sink it in, and then before this episode, I watched it at double speed. It's all on YouTube. You can go look it up right now, and the whole thing is on YouTube.
Right.
And like, I don't know. It's just double speed was like a fever dream of like a mangaka. Like, he is like at 105 fever. He goes to bed. He takes some NyQuil, and he sleeps for 6 hours. And he wakes up, and this is what he had dreamt to kind of get over his fever.
Yeah, it's that or like a bad LSD trip or something.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, it is just bonkers from start to finish.
Okay, so I mean, let's dive into it. So how does it start? What's our setup here?
Yeah, so first off, this movie is making no attempt to bring us into this world slowly.
Not even a little bit.
Not even a tiny, tiny fraction.
Like, the opening bit, like the first 10 seconds is some obvious spiritual entity speaking this cryptic 5,000-year-old prophecy.
Thing, yeah.
Yeah. And is calling out to somebody, some random person, be the hero we need.
Yeah, it's like, there's a 5,000-year-old
beast of hell that has escaped. And we're like, whoa, hold on.
What's happening?
I have seen exactly 60 frames of footage before you hit me with this shit.
Yeah, I think they say Tokyo, and then they say all this, and it's like, wow, okay,
done. We're here.
Our setting is set.
And then we're introduced to our main character.
Yeah, so his name is Dr. Retsu Ukyo.
Ukyo, yeah.
Ukyo?
And he looks, so his aesthetically, he looks like this. He looks like a JoJo character.
Yeah,
he looks like a JoJo Part 1 character. He's built like a tank. He's built like an 80s action star.
All he needs is a tank top.
But he's basically the Ubermensch of Japan. He is a celebrated surgeon. He is built like a brick shithouse. He's
like maybe 25.
He's handsome as shit. And
unbelievably young.
Yeah,
he's like, what the hell is going on
He
here?
might be younger than us right now, but he looks like an Arnold, but Japanese. So, brilliant surgeon is like roped into this prophecy, I guess.
I don't understand how he was chosen, but I think what I'm going to do is just kind of go through the movie and then stop me anywhere you want to
I think we need to do that because we need to talk about some of the stuff in this movie.
But I definitely want to make sure y'all get a good idea of what this disaster of a movie was.
Of course, yeah. Okay, so we meet Ukyo.
Honestly, the beginning is kind of the most jarring because you're just thrown into this situation and absolutely nothing makes sense.
No. Okay, so
basically Dr. Retsu Ukyo seems inextricably interested in this woman on the table. It's like this old lady.
Oh yeah. So basically, she's having a C-section, right? I
think it was a tumor, a cancerous tumor.
Yes. His first opening line is you just see him cut open the stomach, and he just says, "Stop the hemorrhaging," and then it just does this weird cut over to his face, really dramatic, and "Stop the hemorrhaging."
And then, so they remove the nasty tumor and leave it in a container next to a pack of cigarettes. I thought that was very
that was
90s.
really funny.
I was like, okay.
Yeah, so they cut out this otherworldly thing from this old ass woman, and they just stick it on the table, and there's 7 doctors around, just what is it?
Yeah.
It's still growing. It's still moving. Yeah, you shouldn't be looking at it in a fucking bucket on the table
next to cigarettes. I'm like, are you trying to say that this cigarettes causes this? What
yeah.
are you doing?
That was a weird placement of cigarettes. I don't know that was a thing.
And then so at that point, The shifts are what is jarring.
Yeah.
The scenery shifts are unbelievably jarring.
There's so many cuts.
And
like,
there's absolutely no explanation as to why they are going where they are going. Most of the
and
time.
you don't know where they are. So what the one thing I never got is, was it after that Fukukuyo or Fukuyo?
So
chick?
the main love interest, we're going to just be calling Nurse.
Nurse. Her name is Nurse. I don't care enough about this character. Her name is Nurse. Yeah, Nurse just pops out of nowhere. She's like his right hand woman.
Yeah.
And it's clear that she has the hots. Well, who wouldn't? Dr. Retsu's got his.
he's
got
the
his shit
man.
together. He does look like the man. But so basically, he cuts this thing out of this woman. He feels compelled to like respect this woman that he just like cut the tumor out of, and then they like leave the hospital.
Dude, this is what I didn't understand.
What happened?
So
Yeah.
they leave the hospital, and then somehow he's immediately back at the hospital, and then shit goes down.
Right. So he must have left at like 4:30 because there is one specific timestamp. Time is so fucky in this movie. There is no sense of time anywhere except for the one time he leaves. He says we should get going to nurse.
Yeah. All right, hang on. So he's in the hospital talking to the nurse and acting solemn. He says to her, "It's time to go."
Yeah, he goes, "It's time to go."
And then the next scene, he is in the insane forest, way off the beaten path in the mountains.
He's got to be at least 40 miles away from where he works. So what did he just drive out there immediately after, telling her, "Let's go," and she just doesn't follow?
He says, "The old lady looks familiar to me."
Yeah, right.
What are
old
you
lady looks
talking
familiar
about,
to me,
dude?
No, what? Yeah, how does it look familiar at the beginning of the movie? I don't understand.
So then he's out in these woods, and he goes to this temple. I don't know how the hell he found this temple. I don't know why he's there. Then he goes.
He already had He already had a sixth sense of something was wrong out there because remember the wind scene right there when he like drives up, gets out of his car. He says, "There's something conscious out here," and he's just getting hit with wind, and then nothing comes of that. He just then goes to the cabin.
I have a sneaking suspicion that
Did he already know?
The old lady was like saying something, but in the translation on YouTube, it was not anything that would I could even contrive to make it seem like this.
I don't. Yeah.
I don't get it.
I think the translation, I'm going to trust the translation. I don't even think the translation was the problem, but it definitely didn't help. I don't know who did it.
Yeah,
but...
so he goes to this temple off in the mountains. He looks at the statue and then says, "It looks like that woman."
Oh, this statue of this goddess, it's exactly that woman. So he's in, what is inside that cabin? There's nothing. There's some benches and the one statue that's the size of like this book right here, like this like 8-inch book, and he grabs it and then
He prays.
He prays.
And then starts getting really wonky. So a lightning storm shows up.
Yeah, I don't know
and
where.
And then purple lasers just start blasting the fuck out of this temple.
Okay, this isn't lightning. This isn't like strikes in random spots. It's like this continuous beam of lightning,
laser, like
just laser lightning,
thing.
and it's just like it beams towards the cabin and just blows the cabin up, like Independence Day style, just nukes it.
So basically, he wakes up crushed under the temple.
There it is.
And hulks out like a god mode shiny boy.
Let's talk more about that because he hears a voice of somebody saying, "Rise, Yukio, rise." And then he just tries, and then suddenly
now he's got gold powers.
This man can shine now. It's like
he's
Super
dummy
Saiyan.
shiny.
It's like Super Saiyan, but definitely not. He stares into the sun and he sees solar flares and like super. I think
there's something going on in his eyes every time he goes powerful. He's like
he just
looking
shines.
At some, like,
he just
orbs.
shines. So he's like, "Am I dreaming?" So that's the funniest part. He's sitting there, covered in power, staring at the sun, realizing basically, "Hi, I'm Japanese Superman." And he then says, "Am I dreaming?" And then cuts back to the hospital. He's just back at the hospital.
No. He takes a call actually.
Oh, he takes a call on the ride back. Yeah.
So
that's the only timestamp we ever get.
Yeah. So he gets crushed by this temple. He powers up and then gets back in the car and calls the nurse. Or she calls him or something like that.
They're in
he
touch.
Takes a call and finds out that the old lady who looked like the statue died at exactly 7:30 p.m.
He wasn't looking at jack shit on a clock. He didn't know any of that.
That's the exact time the temple exploded.
Yeah, really? JoJo character?
Really?
Oh my gosh, yeah. You didn't have a watch. You were out there like staring at the wind and getting shot by lasers. You didn't concern yourself with the time.
Yeah, so the next I don't get it.
I don't understand.
The next portion of the movie was what I affectionately called the Tumor Attack.
It is a tumor attack. It's an attack of the tumors.
So he's back at the hospital, and the tumor becomes a demon spawn face hugger alien thingamajig and starts just absolutely going to town on other doctors that were in the room looking at it.
Yeah, didn't they divide at some point? Weren't there a couple of them at that point, or is it just that one?
I think it was just the
the one at that point. Yeah.
So it goes crazy, and then this is honestly the dumbest part of the whole movie, I think.
Oh, really?
He somehow from down the freaking hall finds out that this shit's going down.
He's Superman. He can hear it.
He goes gold.
He's Superman.
He goes gold. He golds up.
He's a gold. Yeah, he golds up. He glows up.
He blasts through 2 walls unnecessarily.
That's really funny. Yeah, he punches through the walls to get what would have taken him probably quicker through the doors.
There's 2 doors.
You see the doors. Like,
There's
they're
doors,
there.
dude.
He's just like, fuck the doors. The wall's better. I'm Superman now. Walls cannot hold me. And he just punches his way through to find what? A tumor attack.
Yeah, so he has no training, no understanding or explanation of his powers.
What? Yeah.
And he just shines the fuck out of this little tumor. He's just like,
boom. He's just
dead.
shiny supreme. He says, take my glowy fist, and then just punches it, and it disintegrates.
What I think is the craziest about this dude's powers and like anything like that is he'll get his ass beat for a good 2 seconds of the fight, and then he'll just decide, nah, I'm gonna kill you now, and stabs him or like punches the shit out of him.
Oh yeah, because maybe he didn't believe in himself, or he didn't have enough power in the moment. But
who absolutely knows? So that was the tumor attack section.
And I find that funny. I find that funny too, because like
they also don't mention that he broke walls and nobody, I guess, saw him doing that.
No one saw him doing that.
Like, if you just bust through some damn walls in a hospital, you think they're going to say something to you? Hey, Dr. Ukyo, what the hell did you just do?
You know who did say something to him was the nurse, who was just good to go.
Yeah,
after she watched this man beat up this tumor, and she was like,
yes.
Oh, perform on me. Perform some shiny on
magic.
Me. Give me some of that shine, boy.
So the next section I like to call Bones to Temple in Woods.
Bones. So that's the one thing that's always been surprising to me, and watching it twice now, is what are his motivations outside of I feel compelled because I like this old woman.
It starts getting really, really muddy.
Right. So they learn. So he basically goes and grabs the stuff with the old woman's, and it's just a book, right? And it had that same prophecy in it that you heard in the beginning, which is like 5,000 years, this beast will be released from hell. And
so he decides he needs to bring her bones.
Right. With Nurse.
To some temple, another one.
Well, Nurse just said, I'm coming with you, right? Nurse is just, I'm along for the ride now, and you can't stop this.
Basically, she wants to follow him, and he's like, nah.
And she's like,
and
yeah.
she shows up anyway.
She's like, yeah, I'm coming.
So he's driving to the woods. I don't know how he knows where he's going.
Again, this is one of the 3 times where that's the most he knows exactly where to go to drop these bones off.
Except not, because she literally asks him and he goes, I don't know, it just feels like I should go here.
Yeah. It feels like, it's like, where are we going? I don't know. Maybe I'm being guided by the will of Shara. Or whatever like the god's name
or
is.
whatever the fudge.
Yeah, because
like,
it's at this point he knows, he feels like he is compelled by the prophecy that this old woman had written, right? Because he then reads that on the roof of the hospital with Nurse, and he feels compelled at that point. Because I must be this prophecy.
What's so annoying to me is he vaguely offhand mentions where, like, the region of the forest he's going to go to. And then as he's driving up there, she's waiting by a sign that says the name of whatever the region is.
Was that later when
that was the second time.
That was after
again.
Is that after the they talked to the anthropologist or the archaeologist?
That is the second time that happened.
Right.
This is the first time.
The first time, yeah. They're driving together.
No.
Yes, because he doesn't know where to go. He doesn't know where to go.
I'm telling you, she is on the road next to the road sign when he shows up, and he goes, so you came anyway. I'm telling you, this happens twice. It is that bonkers.
But when is the time that he's riding in the car with her?
That's the second time.
That's when they're taking the bones.
No.
Yes, because she's got the white box in her lap. Yeah. In any case, this is how jarring this movie is, because none of it makes sense in terms of how they get to point A to point B with the information that they have. They were never told where to go in this forest. They were like, we have to drop the bones off. Okay. Instantly know where to go. And when they get to that first spot, they're attacked by a demon at that point, right?
Yes, in a temple.
In a temple. Okay. So
But what was odd, so they're in the temple, they do whatever they got to do, and then they flash back to like seconds before when they're outside the temple walking towards it.
oh, that was the weirdest cut because they like he's inside the temple and then has a vision from the like a message from the future, and then they're outside and then they're back inside.
Yeah, it's like, what is happening?
Like the demon's eyes glow as they're holding each other, and then they're back outside, and
like showing them walking towards the temple. Like there was no exposition.
When did they go in or out? Like,
what is the point?
Oh my, it was so bad. And then, okay, they're finally outside, and then this demon, like, pops out of the ground like a daisy. Just like, I'm here now. Like, he literally comes out of the ground, and he whips their ass.
Yeah, so there's, like, basically no progression, but a lot of shine.
There's so much shiny. This man is so shiny.
I guess this is where the psychic comes in. He like psychics himself a sword from gold form and a spear from gold form.
That was the moment I asked, like, what the fuck is this guy's power system?
We don't know.
He pulls a sword out, He then pulls a spear. He is super strong, I guess super fast because he was that way in the hospital. And he's durable enough to take a beating there for a little bit. But he doesn't always have his powers.
And no battle damage.
Yeah, you see blood. You see him get hit with blood.
Yeah.
Is that when he kicks the demon in the schnoz?
No, that's later.
That's later? Oh, God. So, okay, his fighting style is all over the place. It's insane.
It's a complete mess.
Okay, so
he one-hit KOs the demon after he pulls out Psychic Sword and Psychic Spear.
Right, psychic stuff. And now he's thinking...
The demon crumbles,
and now he's thinking that... Oh, snap, I basically have... we're working with demons now. I gotta go talk to somebody who knows a thing or two about demons, right?
Yep, abrupt-ass cut to Osaka University.
Hard cut. They're across the country now. And,
unbelievable.
And meets up with an old buddy that they went to grade school with or something, or in college. They had some academic relation.
Right.
And that's the only reason. And he said, enough talking about the past. Tell me about my future.
So the dude basically offhand talks about this Jomon Empire and like where it was in this forest, right?
It's like 5,000.
This is where, like I was saying, they do something and then they go back and try to fix it in like a kind of a flashback type scenario.
Right.
He says like maybe one sentence and then all of a sudden they're going on this Odigihara forest. Like,
yeah.
It just didn't make sense. Show me him explaining the whole situation and then go.
They do that later, right? Like, they show you cuts.
They show exactly their conversation after they've already gone to the demon world.
That conversation was super funny to me because they said they're asking about the Jomon period, Jomon Empire back 5,000 years ago.
Right.
And he first says, oh, yeah, they're very simple dwellings, very simple people. They're just hunting and gathering, and we believe they don't have any social system. Cut to them in the forest.
Yeah.
And then later it says, what if I told you they did actually have it and there were demons? Like, he starts dropping bombs, but they've already cut away and they're in the forest now. So I don't understand why is someone who's writing the show would do...
Well, so this is the second part. So he decides to go to Odigihara.
Okay.
The nurse says, hey, doctor, are you going there? Take me with you. And
No.
he goes, no, it's too dangerous.
It's too dangerous.
She's literally already there when he gets there.
That's the thing, yeah.
What the fudge is going on in this movie?
He pops up, and when he arrives there, she's coming over the hill in her red Corvette.
She's already there.
Yeah.
How?
And she's like, I know I won't be a bother. Just let me come with you. And he's like,
okay. Like, that's it.
Hell yeah. That sounds
so this is insane.
All right. So they're camping out. There's that quick cut of her, like, don't they see a snake, like, eating a dog? And then he's just like, stay back. Quick cut again.
So he brings a gun.
He brings a gun. Wait, yeah. Why? The only thing that can... It's been established that the only thing that can defeat these demons are...
Why bring a gun, man? Just explain to me you're coming... I mean, he literally fights demons with it, and it does nothing, so he freaking hits them with it as a club.
Right. No, but
explain why you brought a gun, man.
So why when it's established that your shiny supreme superpowers are the only things that can defeat demons, and he decides, all right, so I might as well bring a gun. It's because that's just how this is going to be. And
so they see like a dead animal or something, and he's like, I bet you wish you didn't come. And she's like, no, it's fine.
It's great. I know, because I'm here with you, Japanese Superman.
Yeah, so they're at a like campfire. They hear a sound. He just runs away from
That's
her.
the one thing. He's like, oh, this smells like a beast. I'm gonna sprint. I'm gonna beeline it that way into the woods. You just stay here and be cool.
Insane, right?
He goes and sees, and he finds out it's a deer, and then he hears her scream like this is a shock.
Yeah,
because he just ran.
Surprising.
Because he's super powered, right? Imagine how far he actually ran.
Yeah.
He may have run like a mile away, and just to shoot this deer, which he doesn't do, and then he hears her scream a mile back, goes back, and then what happened in the middle of that interaction? She's gone. And then he chases down and finds another temple.
Yeah,
so it's like the third temple.
He's like chasing after her, right?
Oh
and
my
He gets kind of pulled into this Jomon Empire temple,
right?
That was like ruins or something. And
yes,
there's like this dope 80s synth wave. So I was actually down with the.
There was some parts of this that were actually kind of tight, like.
But then he kind of sees this. So it's like a Zelda temple basically, where he's got to jump across all these stones across the water and get to the other side where he just heard this scream coming from. Well, he's jumping on the rocks, and then all of a sudden a freaking whirlpool opens up,
and it turns into a time portal.
Okay, here's my problem. They never show him going in the whirlpool.
Nope, they just show a whirlpool.
They show him going up, and then somehow he went down in the whirlpool.
It's so bad.
What?
He disappears into the ceiling, and then they just show a whirlpool, and then he's just floating with his gun.
And then you find him in 5,000 years in the past.
No, I love the old women that were just like, let this happen to you. Just feel the flow. And then he's like, okay. And then boom, 5,000 years later.
And then, so he basically wakes up in 5,000 years ago, absolutely destroys some demons.
So
right?
so I think that was one of my favorite parts of this entire OVA was his whole sleeve and all of his outfit were fine, and then he wakes up in 5,000 years ago and his sleeves are partially ripped, right? And then as he's picking off demons, right?
No, he tries to shoot and can't because I guess guns.
He had a couple shots. If you saw they were charging,
never did anything.
He killed 5 demons. He did. He
killed him by beating them with the gun.
That was after he ran out of ammo and then went shiny. He wasn't shiny, and then he basically ran out of ammo. There's that section behind the rock where they can see him like something flash over the ridge, and he starts picking off demons. So guns do work.
This part of it was completely uninteresting to me.
And then he basically realizes he's out of ammo, goes shiny, rips his sleeves off by flexing, and starts beating the shit out of these demons with this gun as a club. So it's proof that weapons do work, but were the bullets shiny? I don't know.
It just starts getting really weird.
Right.
So basically, he fights these cavalry demons.
He wins.
He goes
Clocks their ass.
and meets the Jomon.
So he swipes a horse, right? So he looks pretty badass sliding down a hill Skyrim style on a horse.
So he talks to him, and they're like, they say this strangely specific, legend. Oh, this must be the god that's supposed to come from 5,000 years in the future.
That was so funny. That was so funny.
What is happening right now?
This old man sees this dude on a horse right up over a ridge, and then the first thing he thinks is, "Oh my god, it's God! It's God, the god from."
5,000 years in the future. I guess he has to save them in order for Japan to be born.
So this is his quest in the past, is that he has to defend the Jomon Empire people from the demon tribe, which were a thing 5,000 years ago.
So he's still looking for the nurse, and
he thinks the nurse came with him.
There's a couple problems here for me.
What, at this point when he's back in time?
Yeah, from a time standpoint, I don't think he goes and fights the demons until he realizes his girlfriend was a demon in disguise.
In the past. So there's the moment where he's with he starts to, that's the one part. He goes to the tribe of the Jomon people.
Yeah, he goes with Grandpa dude
to the waterfall. And the waterfall, there are the 5 holy women that were talking to him this entire movie.
Right. And goddesses.
Right. I don't know if they're goddesses because they just called themselves holy women.
Someone else calls them goddesses later.
I think they might have called themselves holy women from heaven. When he's praying to them and he hears the voice before the first demon shows up with the nurse. But here's the thing, is he then confirms the old man is then vindicated that, oh, the legends are true. This man has come from very specifically 5,000 years from the future.
So
very
specific.
specifically.
I cannot stress enough how specific it was.
They don't show him going back from the waterfall, but it shows him on a horse. And then it's this sharp cut to the whole village just standing there, and the chieftain saying, they eat women as food. And then he's like, demons!
No,
Demons! And he just runs away. Nurse! I gotta find you.
So he goes, and I don't know how he finds the nurse or whatever, but she's hanging naked up over this pond.
Oh yeah, she's very essentially hung.
So he dives in and goes and saves her, and oh wait, it's not the nurse.
She pulls out sweet claws and just crushes him.
It's a shape-shifting demon.
Yes, that's the one he kicks in the balls.
Yes.
So
he has a massive fight, and he decides that he's gonna do a nut punch.
Nut punch. He takes his massive shine and applies it to his massive foot, and then uses his massive leg to kick the demon in its massive dick. And then there's this really funny little cut of him like cringing, almost like Speed of Sound Sonic from One Punch Man.
Fortunately, demons are anatomically similar to humans, or the dick punch probably wouldn't have worked.
In our ample research, we have proven that this is definitely a.
Also, there's a demon god in heaven.
Weird, right?
Doesn't it
demon
seem
god
like
in heaven?
maybe that's a cultural thing that I don't quite get. But
Yeah,
it seems like it shouldn't work.
It seems like a Japanese thing, but I think what's really funny is something you said earlier that like Ukyo gets his ass beat almost initially in every fight and then comes back.
Yeah,
it's right after if you watch the fight between the demon shapeshifter and him. A couple things are weird. One, he doesn't glow underwater. I don't know if that's a thing about his powers, but who knows? No one knows. And then
the guy who wrote it doesn't know.
When I know he had no idea. He was just off the cuff, and he pops up out of the water, and then it seems like he's flying, and then glows after he's dry. Kicks this demon in the schnauzer, right in the cash and prizes,
right in the
and then the
Donkey Kong.
demon commences to beat the fuck out of him for like 15 seconds.
Yeah,
hard beat. I mean, you would too if you got kicked in the dick.
And he no shines, and then he decides, I'm gonna shine and kill
I'm gonna
his
shine
ass.
now. I'm gonna shine. And then shines his ass off, and that's just. I don't know.
So that was crazy jarring. And then he goes to the demon tribe empire.
Yeah.
He blows it up.
How did he know? He thought it was the Joman Empire. Because he's like, is this the Joman Empire? And then he finds a bunch of demons outside and shines on their ass.
Yeah, so he shines on a bunch of demons. He somehow gets within the walls of this massive, like, Jerusalem-type city with a big-ass wall around it.
Right.
He finds some explosive shit, blows it up while the demons are, like, getting ready for battle. And then...
Oh yeah, that was nuts, dude. He finds enough explosive underneath this empire, the entire empire. He finds enough explosives to blow up the entire. It's like finding like U.S. nuclear room, and just lighting a match.
Yeah,
and then somehow this is how it is now. So
I mean, I guess this part doesn't hurt me that bad because like if I found the same thing, I would have lit it up too.
That's how you would have done it.
But here's probably what's the weirdest part is all of a sudden, now we're in this situation where this empire is exploding, right? So he decides, I got to get back. And then, as if a gift from God, all of a sudden, this, purple lasers start coming down,
well, here's the thing
which is time travel.
Yeah, here's the thing about that. What it struck me is if there are two sides to this, the forces that gave Dr. Retsu Yukio this power and the demon side, who have their own thing going on with deities and stuff, how come the purple laser serves both sides' purpose? Because it's the same.
What is the purple laser?
It's the same purple laser that gave him the powers that gave the demons time travel. It's the same color, the same everything.
Unless it was the demon that showed up at the temple. I don't know. It
so
made no
that's the thing.
sense.
He's giving the general's giving a rousing speech, and it's not that rousing. It's actually pretty shitty. It's like it's time for the general war. It's time for the general battle.
Yeah,
This is the battle we have. He even calls it generic. This is the general battle, and then he appeals to the demon in heaven, the demon god or whatever, and then this purple lightning comes down, and then it becomes a portal to 5,000 years into the future. What? Like I don't know how who's favoring who.
I don't know. So basically, a few of these demons get through.
They get through.
Then
right.
Retsu is fighting with the king demon, and they're kind of like clashing, and they fall into the laser. So they both blast back into the current time.
Oh yeah, they just pop in. Yeah.
Like, he basically kills the rest of the demons instantly, and then he has this little fight with the Demon King. Gets his ass beat. He shines. He stabs him, and then he drives.
He did. He gave him
gas
a sweet.
tanker.
He gave him a sweet shiny stab with like a jab.
Yeah, and then he hits him. I think he pulls his heart out. Maybe.
He does.
Or that was a different
one.
No.
No. That's a Killua style. Pulls the heart out. He does it right on the bridge.
Yeah.
Because that's when he's getting his real ass beat.
Then he gets in the shell tanker and drives his gas tanker off the bridge with the guy attached to it and blows up.
Yeah. No. Okay. Mistaken. The one he kicked in the balls is the one he pulled the heart out.
I was thinking.
He drove a gasoline truck into the head demon and shoved him over the edge. And he thought that his battle was won. So then Nurse comes in out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Again, she like sees an explosion
Can
from
I
her
just say,
apartment.
Incredibly, anticlimactic that the Demon King or whatever gets killed like instantly.
Yes. Like there's no.
Like he gets stabbed, blown up.
But there's.
And then
I think there might be a reason for that. I think there's a reason for
Nurse
that.
shows up.
Right.
I don't know how.
So we get one of the weirdest, trippiest sex scenes of all time I've ever seen.
Well, first he goes, "Marry me."
Oh no! Right in the sex scene, yeah.
No,
like,
it was before that.
It's literally
They're
in the moment.
sitting under the bridge, and he goes, "Marry me."
No, he doesn't.
I'm telling you.
No. Okay, so it's him passing out on the bridge. She runs up. His vision fades, and then it cuts to them like Sailor Moon color style, banging each other, like holding each other. And then during that moment, it says, "Will you marry me?" And then it just shows her like crying, really artistically.
Yeah.
And it shows a bunch of flowers, and then we cut to them
naked in a bedroom. And he goes, "We have to go see your parents."
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, we gotta go see your parents tomorrow.
Next scene,
okay.
They're in the car on the way to the parents.
Yep, they're on the car. They're on the way to the car. And
So
where are they going? Yeah, where are they going?
To the Asahina temple.
Yeah, Nurse's family's temple.
So basically, he's driving, and then all of a sudden, the goddess says, "It's not time for you to be happy yet. You still have shit to do."
It looks like the car stops. Like he stops in the middle of the road. Like, oh,
WTF, mate?
Oh, I cannot be happy yet. I have more anime to complete.
Yeah, so they go into this Asahina temple, and it's weird because there's all these like demon-looking golems all over the place, statues.
And Nurse starts to say some weird shit too here.
She's starting to get a little wonky, and she's like, "We should die together."
That was the one thing. Yeah, she starts saying like, "Oh, these are all the oppressed and the ones that were defeated, and the demons were defeated despite them being intelligent. And I know I feel kind of for them. We should all commit suicide together in this temple." Yeah. Like, whoa, hold on.
What's happening right now?
This is so left field. And he looks at her like, you notice his reaction? It wasn't shock. It wasn't anything. It was just, "We should die together in this main temple. Why do we have to die?" It's just, there's no shock of what she just said. And then he's
like, "You're the Demon King, aren't you?"
Right. So yeah, the message he got in the car from the goddesses was, "You still have to defeat the Demon King, and then you can have happiness."
Or King of Darkness.
The King of Darkness. Like yes. And then she doesn't even give any information away to prove that she's that.
Well, she just says, "Yes, I am."
After he says that. Oh
Fukyo
God.
Yu.
After he said it was.
And so I guess her whole goal was to continue. So she's gotten mortal life, and she's been continually banging like
dudes of the era.
Yeah, prospects throughout time to try to send demons back in time to like build that empire up so that they don't get eradicated.
Right. So she's been continuously for 5,000 years banging dudes and
having
stocking an
demon
army,
babies and throwing them back.
Which, for all intents and purposes, if you want to give a pro of the plot, that's a good plan.
Yeah, honestly,
that's a good plan. Like, that's not a bad plan.
So she finally meets him. She knows he's the one that's going to kill him, and she falls in love with him, she says.
And I like how she put it. She was like, "And you know what happened after that?"
Yeah. I fell in
love with you.
Yeah. Oh, it was wonky,
dude. Come on, man.
So then I don't understand how that all devolves, and he's basically like, "I'm not going to kill myself," and then they start fighting.
No, okay.
And she's got light speed powers, y'all.
It's rad. Like, okay, I will say, her character design after she transforms was rad as shit.
She was like a harpy from Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yes, she looked like she belonged in like an 80s Van Halen like animated metal video. She looked cool, and she was definitely like they like forgot about fan service the entire show, and they're like, "Oh shit, show tits, show some tits real quick, and then give her a thong." Got it.
Yeah,
fan service.
So
we in this.
She's got light speed powers. He forgets how to shine, and then
he forgets how to shine. He does. He just
like
stops.
This demon god in heaven comes like his vision comes out, and he's like trying to fight them too. And then the 5 goddesses come back and shoot marbles at that guy, and he dies.
And these 5 goddesses pull a Goku from the Cell Saga. Like, they come back and directly help. Like,
yes.
They throw some beads at her, and
some freaking marbles and shit.
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden...
He summons 2 weapons at once.
Then he gets his sword and his spear back.
And oh my gosh.
And then they kill her. And then there's this weird part at the end where she goes... You should go see her family, the Asahina family. There's someone there waiting for you.
Waiting there with
what does that mean?
So no.
That is the worst cliffhanger in history.
One, I deciphered it on my second watch through. And there's a moment after he kills the queen, I guess, of darkness. And she like kind of reverts back to Nurse there for a little bit. Yeah. And she says, I love you with all my heart. And then the 5 goddesses take the body away and says, go to her family's home. There's someone waiting for you with all their heart. And I'm like, is Nurse still alive?
This is what I'm saying.
I don't know. Like, they
just
put her back.
Abruptly fucking ends.
My favorite part of that whole ending is that he just like, I guess realizes something that most of the audience wouldn't. Looks up into the sky, sheds a single tear, and says, "Oh my god." And then the whole thing ends. It just cuts to black.
It was sauce.
It was so jarring.
Unbelievable. You guys have got to watch it.
I was to say, so this guy's power system it's basically like what I told Ethan. It felt like Japanese Superman.
I'm saying he's a Super Saiyan, but they had just done the animation for that. Or like they're just about to do it in Dragon Ball Z.
It looked like he was powered by the sun.
Maybe it's the predecessor of Dragon Ball Z.
No, because Dragon Ball Z had already started.
Yeah, but they didn't get to...
This was written in the late 80s.
But he didn't go super... This is 91.
It was animated in 91. The manga it's based on was from the 80s.
I think this was the predecessor to Super Saiyan. They didn't do that till Frieza arc.
I mean,
Anywho, it was garbage trash. But you gotta watch it because it is so jarring.
So, yes.
It was pure art.
It was it felt weird because it didn't follow any convention of storytelling. The cuts were jarring. Things felt like they just dropped a bunch of scenes on the floor and made sure it was kind of roughly in order. And, nothing was explained. I can understand you have 50 minutes, but I've seen a lot more told more craftily in 50 minutes.
Like the first episode of GTO is
50 minute classic. So I know what can be done. I know it can be done. And I don't know, man. It's just watching it hurt my brain.
It was high form art.
Yeah,
obviously.
I think I might just not be evolved enough in my
clearly
studies
not cultured.
to know. It was
unreal. Y'all check it out. It was bonkers.
So honestly, this Psychic Wars piece of media, I fear calling it anime because it only looks like it on purpose. But I don't know. It just felt like you were driving in a car and someone was just obsessed with just like drifting and just whipping you back and forth, and you didn't know where any of it was going. You didn't even know where we were driving to. It's just you're along for this ride that felt really painful on your brain and neck.
I think what the best part is at the end, I still don't know where we went.
Right. I don't know. We may have spanned the entire, like maybe half of the country of Japan in that 50 minutes.
We had to have, because they just kept jump cutting all over the fucking planet.
Right. What we had was animation that was just not ideal.
Animation that was dog shit. Story that was dog shit. Powers that were dog shit.
So many inconsistencies, like Pete Dunn suddenly knowing clairvoyantly where to go and what to do next.
Was ass.
There was nothing, no through line of events. Like any of them could have been plucked and
right. So in conclusion, everybody watch it.
It's
I think
free.
you
it's
and your friends
YouTube.
would love to shit on that, just like we did.
Oh yeah, no, seriously, grab a couple buddies, get yourself some snacks, sit yourself down for a nice 48-minute. Even watch it double speed. You watch it double speed, you are going to. Your ears might bleed. It is so jarring.
Nuts.
It's probably bad for your health, but we'll definitely be doing this again. This was super fun. We were texting each other like all the other night when we decided to watch it. Like, dude, what is happening right now? And Ethan's like, I do not know.
Purple lasers. What the hell?
Purple lasers helping both sides. The purple lasers are like
the god of this
anarchists.
New world.
They're just anarchists. Yeah, they just help all sides. Oh man. So yeah, that was Weebology. Thank you so much for listening. I don't know, whatever you're listening on, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple iTunes, and stuff like that. We really appreciate your listens. Give us 5 stars where applicable.
5 stars, folks.
Yeah,
we need them.
Yeah, I actually have my mattress at home is like 98% stars. Like it's
Right,
very comfortable
so
to sleep on.
The
It's
more
how I
5
sleep.
stars you give them, the better sleep we'll have.
The better sleep we get, because it's like it's just it's better than Tempur-Pedic. You know, you guys held us up, and
Yeah,
these stars were
so
really great.
you know, reviews really help out podcasters and will help us, get a little bit of incentive to keep going. We have a lot of fun making these, but we also hope that you guys are having fun listening to them.
Oh yeah, you have any suggestions on anything? You go on Weebology YouTube and watch our Weeb clips. Leave some comments there about stuff you want us to do in the future. We're totally open to whatever you guys want to do, and we'll do the research for y'all, or get opinionated at each other and drop kick each other across the table right here.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably a given that we're gonna fight.
Yeah, I'm gonna fight this. I'm gonna fight this man.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening, and have a phenomenal rest of your day.
Yeah, week, month, year. Have a good life. Yeah. So I'm Ricky,
And I'm Ethan.
and this has been Weebology.
You've been learned.
You've been learned. Deuces.
Peace.